The I just had a wow, I just had a total brain lapse there. Hey guys, Erica Castner. I am chiming in for a quick live stream today because I was actually listening to this morning when I was getting ready for my day. I actually listened to a number of different podcasts as I'm, putting myself together and getting myself mentally prepared for the day. And there was actually a couple that I listened to today. One of the things, I'll get to that in a second, but as I was listening to the podcast today, this element of, and it was kind of indirectly related to the podcast, but one of the things that kind of kept coming up for me, the main core message, was this aspect of quality attracting the results that we desire. How many of you have ever committed to doing a multitude of things to grow your business, and then you find yourself spread too thin? Well, today I'm going to share 5 ways that we can actually, and they all work together, okay? So you don't necessarily have to do all 5 of these together. However, if we're thinking about building upon Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect, if we're doing little bits all the time, like consistently all the time, and building up to these 5 ways, it will magnify the amount of results that we're getting for our business. Hi, Alicia. How are you, pretty lady? Good to see you. Okay, so let me dig right into here, because this is actually, like I said, if someone wants to be a lamb and put in the comment section these 5 ways, I would greatly appreciate it, because I cannot trust myself to talk and write at the same time. So number 1 on deck, we have to be mindful of what our appearance is on the outer surface. Now, before you get all up in arms and tell me that, oh my goodness, Erica, it's not fair for you to be talking about the way that we physically look, you know what? I hate to break it to you all, but people in general, we are conditioned to instantly vote with our eyes, vote with what we see, okay? Now, of course, appearances on the outside are not necessarily what, the true indicator of what's in front of us. However, I am more likely to go gravitate towards somebody that looks put together, polished. You don't have to have the fanciest threads. I am a big component of going to the clearance rack at Dillard's, going to the clearance rack at hi Mike, how are you? Hi. Thank you all so much for coming in today. You don't have to pay the most expensive cost to look the part, right? But go treat yourself to, I actually had a color analyst session done a while back, and it made a huge difference in the way that I was positioning myself and my brand. So if those things are important to you, there's a certain way my hair looks, there's a certain way my jewelry looks. It's all part of my brand. But do yourself a favor if you feel like that you need a haircut, if you feel like you need a spray tan. I don't know. I mean, I hate to get all superficial about the details, but quality first is going to be based on, and not only the way that you look, it's going to be the way you carry yourself too. So, talking about my whole thing with, thank you so much for all the likes. I really appreciate it. Thinking about the things that I do to put myself together on the outside, it all starts with what's in here, right? So I'm going to get into that in just a moment in the other 5 ways. But first and foremost, we have to have the outside packaging look the part, okay? And if you don't know how to do that yourself, go find people that will support you through that, okay? I used to work in a department store behind a cosmetic counter. Those people will actually teach you. Not all of them are created equal, so don't be taking me up on the first person you see at the such and such counter, because they're not all created equal. But if you find one that's actually trained to give you some tips on how you can actually do your makeup, how you can style your clothes, all of those things are important. Hi, Malia, how are you? Okay, number 2 on deck. Quality attracts the results that you want if you are surrounding yourself with quality people. Okay, You've heard the phrase, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. If the 5 people you're hanging out with are people that are not doing what you want to do, they have no experience in what you want to do, they're negative Nancy's. We've talked about this in other videos. I don't have to rehash this today, but it's all about figuring out how to tie yourself to a circle of influence of people that are going to support you and what you want to do. So I know this can be tricky as all get out for people, especially because it's not comfortable to go reach out to people that are outside of your sphere of influence. 3 weeks ago, I had an opportunity to shake hands with Ashton Kutcher and Matthew McConaughey. I'm not saying that we're BFFs by any stretch of the imagination, but 4 years ago, I was not hanging out in a circle of influence that was going to get me any closer to shaking hands with Ashton Kutcher and Matthew McConaughey. Not going to talk about that experience today, but I'm not getting that you have to be attracting celebrities into your world. But if you know that you want to hang out with more CEOs, if you know you want to hang out with people that are potentially going to be your quote unquote dream clients, that is where you start. You start putting yourself into circles that allow you to talk to those people, okay? And those people getting to know you as well too. Number 3, the quality of your engagement, okay? And it's not just engagement with people, it's engagement with things that are going to help make you a better person. So if you're not engaged in books, if you're not engaged in listening to podcasts, if you're only engaged with trash TV media, like negative media, thank you for putting those in there. If you were only engaged with that medium, if you're taking let's say 6 hours a day to scroll through your Facebook feed. I'm not hating on Facebook. I've been there too, where I'm like, okay, there's days where I'm just like, I find myself going into that mode. Figure out what you're engaged with. Take just a few moments. I would actually, this is a tip for you guys. If you feel like that you're the quality of your engagement, yes, Malia, garbage in, garbage out. If your quality of your engagement, whether it's engagement with other people, and this is huge for people who are trying to build centers of influence to get in front of more customers, to get in front of maybe an expanded platform, like the engagement piece of this, like you've got to be so dialed into being constant with that. And I mean, like picking up the phone and calling people, inviting them to things that you're doing to grow your business, figuring out a way to get really deep. I teach something called the EPIC system in one of my programs, and I'm not going to get into that today, but one of the things that's so imperative about that is the EPIC system really allows people to connect with you on a consistent basis, and it allows you not to go crazy thinking about, well, who did I connect with? Is that person a good resource for me? I mean, it allows you to kind of keep all that straight, which leads me to my next point. Number 4, quality tools. So if we're not doing anything to quality tools to, let me rephrase that because there's a ton of tools that we could go to, but in this context, I'm talking about the tools that are going to help you analyze your results. So if you're not dialed into, in the business context or in the clienteling aspect, if you're not dialed into a client relationship management tool and you don't know where your prospects are, you don't know where you're at with them, you don't know anything about like the pulse and what's going on with your client referral sources, all of tracking your time. Oh my gosh. I mean, if you don't have a pulse on what's going on with the amount of time that you're spending on certain things, like we've got to understand that there are quality tools out there, especially in today's society. There are a lot of quality tools. I do not have time to go into them today, but quality tracking tools, quality control, like figuring out how much time there's a, gosh, now it's escaping me right now. I can't believe that. It's Toggle. Toggle is a tool that I use from time to time to actually help me, especially if I know that I've got a lot on my plate and I've got a finite, let me say that right, finite amount of time. That was harder than I thought it was going to be to say that. I want to make sure that I'm actually spending my time in a quality way. So that's one of those tools that I ensure that is going to get me the quality results that I want. If I wasn't doing anything to track my results, that would not be the pathway to success. Let me just put it that way. Last but certainly not least, I want to call out that you've got to spend quality time. Just hitting and quitting a task or hitting and quitting a relationship, hitting and quitting, and I don't mean that to be like crass or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination, but if we're not spending quality time, and this goes for, I use this example, some of my peeps that are on here were just at my Expand Your Presence workshop. I use this analogy at the Expand Your Presence workshop. I had a client back in the day, literally when we started working together, she had 21 networking organizations that she was a part of, okay? And I generally, when I'm working with a client, my goal is to get them to be engaged with 3 quality ones, okay? So I have some clients that come to me and are not used to networking at all. This woman was clearly excited and engaged with networking, but it wasn't necessarily quality networking, so she was spending a lot of time on stuff that did not move the needle. She was also not putting more quality time into those things that she knew were going to drive her business. And in fact, when we actually opened up the hood of her metaphoric car, if you will, to figure out what was going on, why the car wasn't moving forward, we discovered in a lot of ways that, you know what, the people that she was surrounding herself with in those rooms were never, ever, 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 ever going to be able to afford her service, number one, or refer her business. So it's not just about, like, we're all in business to do amazing things. I mean, obviously we want to be profitable. Obviously, if you're philanthropic, you want to take a certain section of those revenue dollars and put them towards the good in the community, whether you're doing that locally or whether you're doing that on a broader scale. But if you are constantly spending your time, which is, again, one of the most precious resources that we have, on things that aren't going to move the needle in your business, we have to really take it. I mean, I constantly evaluate that for my own business. There's stuff that, like, literally once a quarter, I'm checking in with that because I want to make sure that I'm making the biggest impact possible. And it's not just because I want to improve my bottom line. It's because I have some lofty goals that I want to help a lot of people. So the only way that I'm going to be able to, thank you so much for all the likes, the only way I'm going to be able to help a bunch of people is if I'm spending my time on things that are going to help the greater good, okay? So I have to evaluate. I have to do my own homework once. Hey, Natalie, how are you? And girlfriend, we got to hook up. The next time, I'm actually going to get with you privately because I'm actually working my way up in your neck of the woods, not in just probably another week or two. So I will get with you privately on that. But again, just to recap, because I know we talked about a number of things, the 5 ways that are going to give you quality results in your business. Number 1, look the part. Figure out how you're going to package yourself in a way that's going to attract them to get to want to know you in the first place. Number 2, identify the people that are going to help you get you to where you need to go. Evaluate your circle of influence. And if you feel like your circle of influence is not where you want it to be right now, there are ways that we can actually elevate that, but we've got to tap into that. Number 3, engagement. Figure out if you're engaged with things that are actually going to suck the energy out of you, if you're engaged with negativity, if you're doing all those things, it's probably going to stop and prevent you from actually moving forward. So get engaged with other things like books, podcasts, conferences, other people, other I wouldn't necessarily say other like certifications or, credentials, if you will, like things that are actually going to require you to go back to school. But if it's necessary for your industry, by all means, consider it. Number 4, the tools that you are going to need to track the things that you're doing to grow. So we talked about Toggle, the tool that I use to track my time. So that could be one of those tools. Client management systems, those are all client relationship management systems. Those are all good things to be thinking of, but find the quality tools that are going to help you get your goals accomplished. And last but not least, find the quality time to do the things that you've got to do in order to move the needle, and take a hot second at least once a quarter to evaluate if those things that you're spending the most time on are going to support you in the long term as it relates to growing your business and getting the results that you desire. So that's all I have for you all today. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they want to put into that they haven't already? I really appreciate you guys all coming in here today and having some, I'm trying to like something that was deleted, so that's why. But if you want to have a convo with me, if you want to check in with me, we've got some really cool things that are going on around the bend. I am going to be announcing those very, very soon in the next, probably within the next 48 hours. So be on the lookout for that. But if there's anything I can do to support your current areas of focus, hit me up, Erica at thequeenofresults.com. I'd love to learn about what you're doing and how I can support you as it relates to creating the business and life that you desire. Until next time, I'm Erica Castner. Take care, y'all. Bye.